Oriental dance, which takes its name from the Arabic raqs shaki meaning the dance of the East, goes as far back as ancient Egypt and is based on the temple dance performed in celebration of the gods and goddesses. The wide variety of different forms and styles of Oriental dance are clear evidence of the long road over which it has travelled, which almost certainly followed the Silk Route. It's clearly inspired by Indian dancing, and India was probably its birthplace. But it also draws inspiration from many other sources, including gypsy dancing and that of Andalusia. The true origins of the dance are not documented, and the only accounts of it which do exist, such as the personal reminiscences of soldiers in the armies led by Napoleon Bonaparte and Marshal Lyotte, have all contributed towards giving it a very false image. During the 18th and 19th centuries, people began to distinguish between various different forms of Oriental dance, and several written accounts appeared. But its evolution really began in the 20th century, through the influence of Egyptian cinema. Nowadays, there are more people performing Oriental dancing outside of its country of origin. This is especially true of Europe and the United States, where it's becoming more and more popular. New schools are opening up every day, catering for both men and women, and for people of all ages and types and all ethnic backgrounds. One of the attractions of this form of dancing is that each and every participant, male or female, can develop his or her own individual style. Until quite recently, this dance was thought of merely as a cabaret show act. But today, thanks to all the new dance schools which have opened up, it's become more acceptable. Like any other dance form, there are a number of different techniques and steps which you need to master if you're going to perform it well, and it's now being taught along academic lines rather than being considered as a form of free expression. Myriam Douiou has been performing Oriental dance for 20 years, and she spent the last 14 years teaching others. She runs courses catering for pupils at all levels, and also organises training courses for professional dancers both in France and abroad. In 1998, she founded the Aswan Company, which specialises in Oriental dance and regularly stages performances in France and throughout the rest of Europe. Myriam Douiou has drawn on both her teaching and her theatrical experience to prepare 2 courses, one designed for complete beginners and the other designed to improve and perfect Oriental dance techniques. Both courses are suitable for men as well as women. Her programmes are not intended as a replacement for an outside course. Their aim is to provide you with the basic foundations of Oriental dance, so that you can repeat and perfect each movement in your own home. In order to perform Oriental dance in comfort and safety, it's essential to methodically carry out a series of warm-up exercises before you begin. Always start by concentrating on the upper part of your body, then gradually work down until you reach your toes. Begin with your head, then move on to your shoulders, your torso, your pelvis, your legs, and finally your feet. This programme is divided into 4 sections. The first 3 sections concentrate on the pelvis, the torso, and then the arms and shoulders. And the final section deals with various ways of moving across the floor. The best way to progress is to concentrate on really mastering the work on each part of your body before you move on to the next section. At the end of the programme, I'll be performing a complete sequence of different moves, which will give you the chance to put everything you've learned into practice. The first time I run through the sequence, I'll be commenting on each movement. You'll then have the opportunity to repeat the sequence to the music. The individual movements will be presented in one of two ways. Simple movements will be demonstrated by Myriam on her own, and she will point out the principal features. She'll then be joined by her pupils, who'll perform the same movement with her in time to the music. More complicated movements will initially be demonstrated in slow motion. At this stage, you should just watch each movement closely and not attempt to carry it out. You'll then have the opportunity to perform each movement along with Myriam, guided by her instructions. And finally, she'll repeat the movement to music, accompanied by her pupils. And now, it's over to you. We're going to begin by doing some warm-up exercises so that your body is really ready to begin dancing. Bend your knees, contract your abdominal muscles, and let your head fall gently to each side. Let your head hang down heavily to each side. Breathe. Then let your head roll round in a half circle to the front. Now roll your head round in a half circle towards the back. Let your head drop down heavily in front and behind. Relax, relax, relax. Your head should hang down. Keep going. Breathe. Try to keep relaxed. Now in the other direction. And relax. Backwards, to the side, forwards, relax. Let your head fall gently forwards, then curl your back over, keeping your knees bent and your abdominal muscles contracted. Bring your head back gently and bring your shoulder blades together. Curl your back over and look at the floor. Stretch your back up and look at the ceiling. Keep going, really rounding your back. And bring your shoulder blades as close together as you can. Open, contract your abdominal muscles. Breathe. Breathe in. Last time. This time, keep your legs and back quite straight. Contract your abdominal muscles. Roll your shoulders backwards, rising up as far as possible. Always take good breaths and relax as much as possible. Now the same thing forwards. Always keep your shoulders relaxed as you breathe in and out. Quite straight, bring your arms out parallel to the floor. Move your feet a little way apart and get ready to stretch as far as you can to each side without moving your pelvis and keeping your legs straight. And stretch. To the side, to the side. Bring your chest forwards, to the side, backwards, to the side. Draw a circle with your chest. You can use your arms to help you. And relax. Try the same movement with your hands on your hips. Bring your chest to the side and forwards, to the other side and backwards. Keep going, keeping your back and legs as straight as possible. With knees bent, swing your torso to each side, using your knees to help you. Bend each leg in turn, so that one leg is straight and the other bent, and your torso moves to the side of the bent knee. Legs a little way apart, and stretch. Relax on each side, and stretch, stretch. You can either bend your knees just a little, or you can keep your legs straight. And stretch to each side. Remember to breathe deeply so that you relax. Rotate your pelvis. Bring your pelvis to the side, then to the front, then to the side, and then to the back. The aim is to draw a circle with your pelvis. To the side, to the front, to the side, to the back. Stand with your feet together and let your torso relax. Try to bend one leg and then the other. Do it gently and bend your leg as far as you comfortably can. This gently warms the leg muscles up and makes them more supple. Bend your knees to come back up, and keeping them bent, bring your back up straight, lifting your head up last. We're now going to warm up the ankles. Keeping your foot relaxed, bring it round in a circle. Do this gently without contracting your muscles. Do it once to each side, relax. To the right and to the left. Standing up straight, link your hands. Now trace some waves to get your wrists fully relaxed. Do it gently. And now relax. Now rotate your wrists, beginning with your right hand. Trace an outward circle with your fingers. Keep your fingers relaxed as though you are holding something by the tips of your fingers. Go to the right, then to the left, and relax. Now your left hand. Really relax your wrist. Rotate your hand inwards and then outwards. The warm-up is over and we can begin to dance. We'll begin the course with work on the pelvis. Hip lift and drop, one hip. Stretch one leg out with your foot flat on the floor and bring the other leg up onto the ball of your foot. Move only your knee. Bend, stretch, bend, stretch. Keep your foot up in a wedge shape and keep your heel quite still. Your knee is the only part moving. The hip lifts and drops. Stretch, bend, stretch, bend, stretch, bend. If you can, contract your abdominal muscles at this point. Keep quite straight. Concentrate on keeping your foot up like a wedge, otherwise this movement is not possible. And now hip lifts and drops with both hips. Lift your arms up high, keep your body quite straight, contract your abdominal muscles, and get ready to lift up each foot in turn onto the ball of the foot. One foot goes up onto the ball of the foot, the other is kept flat on the ground. Keep your legs straight so that your hip is forced to lift up. Keep one foot flat and raise the other so that the hip lifts. Side movements. Keep both feet flat on the floor. Bring your arms out parallel with the floor. Bend one knee and then the other, and let your pelvis drop down to either side. Contract your abdominal muscles and bring your chest well up. Relax, to the side, one knee and then the other. Drop down on each side. Keep going with the music. Keep your abdominal muscles really contracted and your feet are shoulder width apart. Drop down on each side, bending one knee and keeping the other leg straight. The Oriental twist. Bring your arms out parallel with the floor. Bring the right side of your pelvis forwards first, and then the left side. Twist without moving the top part of your body by keeping your abdominal muscles well contracted. It's very important not to move the rest of your body so that the movement of the pelvis is clearly visible. Downward figure 8. Bring your arms up, keeping your body quite straight. Keep both legs straight. Lift your right hip by bringing your right foot up onto the ball of your foot. Push outwards and relax your foot back down onto the floor without changing the position of your body. Now the left leg. Push outwards and bring your foot back down. Go up, push and relax. Try to keep your back really straight. You can also move forwards as you do this movement. Go up, push, relax. As you rise up onto the ball of your foot, take advantage of the change of position to take a forward step. Go up, push, relax. Concentrate on your breathing during this movement. Backwards figure 8. With your arms parallel with the floor, bring your right hip forward and then trace a circle with your hip as you bring it back. When you can't push it any further back, do the same movement using your left hip. Circle with your right hip and then with your left. You should feel the sensation of drawing a figure 8 with your pelvis. Circle, relax, circle, relax. Make sure that your torso is really upright and pull your abdominal muscles well in so that the movement is perfectly isolated. Begin by doing it slowly. Take your time. Push your hips out as wide as you can. Use your knees to help if you want to. Your legs don't have to be perfectly straight, but they shouldn't be too bent either. Make sure that your shoulders stay facing the front. Forwards figure 8. Just watch without doing anything. Notice that the pelvis is drawing a figure 8 moving forwards this time. Your arms remain parallel with the floor. Bring your right hip to the side, then forwards. When it's not possible to go any further, do the same movement using your left hip, then the right one, then the left one. Make sure you keep your torso upright and contract your abdominal muscles. Do the figure 8 in slow motion so that you really feel the movement. Bring your hip well forward. Make sure your shoulders remain facing the front. upward figure 8. Just watch without doing anything. Keep both feet flat on the floor. Bend one leg and bring your pelvis over to the side. When you can't bring it over any further, straighten your leg. Bend the other leg, push your pelvis out, and then straighten your leg. Both feet remain flat on the floor. Concentrate all the time on keeping your body upright and your abdominal muscles as contracted as possible. Bend, push, relax, bend, push, relax. You can put your hands on your hips if you want to, so that you can feel the movement better. Remember to do the movement slowly at first so that you really feel it. Stand up straight, bend, push, and come back up. Bend, push, and straighten. As you dance, you can bring your arms into play as well, either keeping them parallel with the floor or lifting them up. Pelvic rotation. With your arms parallel with the floor, bring your feet a shoulder width apart and push your pelvis backwards. Now to the side, a little way forwards, to the side, and backwards again. Draw the widest circle you can as you move your pelvis back and to each side. But when you come forwards, only go a little way so that you don't damage your back. Concentrate on moving out to the left-hand side and to the right. Push out to each side. And push backwards. Keep your legs straight, your torso upright, and your arms parallel with the floor. We're now going to introduce some arm movements, and the arms will be moving in the opposite direction to your pelvis. Link your hands in front and then behind your back. As your pelvis swings forwards, bring your hands together behind your back. And as the pelvis swings back, bring your hands together in front. Always do the movement in slow motion at first. Push well out to each side and behind. Keep your arms parallel with the floor. You can keep your legs quite straight, or allow them to give a little. If you're not working in front of a mirror, try to feel the movement. Bring the hand movements in as well, moving your arms in the opposite direction to your pelvis. Pelvic shimmies. Just watch without doing anything. The way you position your knees will determine whether the shimmy is tight or relaxed. The shimmy will be tight if you keep your legs straight, and the more you bend your knees, the wider the shimmy will become. Two pieces of advice which might help. Tapping your heels very quickly will make you feel the energy of the movement coming from the floor. Alternatively, you can bring your knees together and rub them just as fast against one another. Hip kicks. Gain the necessary momentum and kick to the right-hand side first, as you bring your arms straight up. And again, this time to the left. Keep your feet flat on the ground. Use the tension in your knees, stretch one leg after the other, gain momentum and kick. Gain momentum and kick. Concentrate on bending your leg right down and then straighten it. Your arms are straight up as though pointing in the direction you're going. Bend and straighten. And again. Bring your arms up straight. Bend and gain momentum and straighten your leg. And again. We're now going to continue with some movements which concentrate on the torso. Torso rotation. Just watch without doing anything. Notice that it's your chest which is drawing the circle this time. This movement was one of the warm-up movements we did earlier. It's important that you should keep your pelvis perfectly still so that the rotation is limited to your chest. The sensation you get is that the movement is coming from inside. Make sure that you don't bend your back as you rotate your torso. Bring your chest to the side, to the front, to the other side, and then back. Now bring your arms down, so that it's only the torso which is doing the work. Make sure that you keep your shoulders quite still as well. Torso figure 8. Stand up quite straight and use each arm in turn to move your torso and draw a figure 8. Later on, you'll find that you'll be able to bring your arms down by your sides and just work your torso in isolation. Remember not to use your shoulders and to just let your torso move right out and down to each side. You should feel your torso drawing a downwards figure 8. The torso camel. Check in the mirror that you're standing straight up. Bring your right foot forward and lean forwards as though you're leaning out of a window. Breathe in as you lift your chest up and relax as you return to the starting position. Make sure you don't bend your back so that you avoid being round-shouldered. Concentrate on doing the chest movements well. Push, lift up, relax. Push, lift up, relax. Think about joining up all 3 points. Go down, come up, and return to the starting position. Bring your chest up and then return to the original starting position. Imagine that you're drawing an upward circle and then a circle going from front to back. Push, lift, and relax. When you first do this movement, you can include your head. Later, you should try to keep your head quite still and just move your chest. Be sure to take deep breaths and to breathe out as you relax. We're now going to work on the arms and shoulders. Arm undulations. Just watch without doing anything. Stand up straight and bring your arms up parallel with the floor. First, we're going to do a series of very small backward rotations, moving one shoulder and then the other. It should feel as though your elbows are being pulled on strings. Your arms should keep light. Keep going with your wrists relaxed. Pull on imaginary strings with your hands as you lift them up and show your palms, then bring them back down. Bring your arms out parallel with the floor. Rotate each shoulder in turn. Right and left. Now link the two movements without pausing. Right, left. Think about the structure of your shoulders. Your arms should be light. Pull on an imaginary string as you show your palms and bring your hands back down. Pull, keep your hands relaxed and turn your palms out. Pull with your fingers, relax your hands, pull and relax as you continue to rotate your shoulders. Try to maintain the same line with your arms parallel with the floor. Forward and backward shoulder movements. Stand sideways with your left arm raised and your right arm pointing straight ahead. Move your shoulder forwards and then backwards. Forwards, back, forwards, back. Change arms. Raise your right arm this time and point straight ahead with your left arm. Move your shoulder forwards and then back to its original position. Move one shoulder and then the other. Forwards, back, forwards, back. Do it in slow motion at first and then get faster and faster. When you come to a close, bring both arms up parallel with the floor and imagine that your forearms are being supported by a bar so that you keep them quite still. Work one shoulder, then the other, within the structure of your shoulder. Forwards and back, forwards and back. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We're now going to look at various ways of moving across the floor. Chassés. Watch carefully. As you move over the floor, it isn't your hip pushing your foot along. Instead, it's your foot pulling your hip. Your arms should be held straight up, with one arm turning in towards your body and the other arm raised. Try to bend the raised arm a little. Rock your whole body weight to and fro on the beat of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Change legs and change arms as well. Still the same side. Keep your arms up straight. Now take a few steps. Rock your body weight forwards and back and forwards. The further forward you bring your foot, the looser the hip movement will be. And step. Try to make as wide a circle as possible. Moving backwards. Watch carefully. Notice how the body weight's transferred from one foot to the other. With your arms parallel with the floor, bring your right leg back and then take steps to the beat of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Bring your foot down as far as possible out on the circumference of the circle so that you release your hip. Keep your arms parallel with the floor. Introduce arm movements if you like. You can either lift your arms up or keep them parallel with the floor. As soon as you feel comfortable with this movement, try to take your foot out as far as possible. Keep your torso well lifted up and make sure that your abdominal muscles are well contracted throughout the whole movement. Crossover with hip movements. Just watch without doing anything. Bring one foot to the side and go up onto the ball of your foot. Use just your knee as usual to straighten and bend your leg. Cross. Change arms and change legs. Bend, cross, open, bend, cross, open, bend. One foot is flat on the floor, the other raised up onto the ball of your foot. Bend your knee, open, and bend. Point in the direction in which you're moving. Bend, cross, open, bend. Cross your arms and legs, and bend. Now we'll move in time to the music, slowing down or going faster in time to the beat. One foot is kept flat on the floor, and the other is raised up onto the ball of your foot. Imagine a wedge under your heel so that you don't let your hip drop down, and remember that the whole movement relies just on knee action. Relaxing your pelvis. Just watch without doing anything. Stand with both feet raised up onto the ball of the foot. Straighten one leg out and then the other. Imagine that your feet are raised up on wedges so that you don't let your heels drop down. Straighten one leg out and then the other. You can either lift your arms up or keep them parallel with the floor. Open and relax. The more you bend your knees, the more pronounced the movement will be. Concentrate on straightening your legs right out and bending your knees right down. Also remember to stay up on the balls of your feet. Your abdominal muscles should always be as contracted as possible so that the movement of your pelvis is very strong and it moves in isolation. Forward and backward leg movements. Just watch without doing anything. This is a classic movement. Both feet are raised up onto the balls of the feet, forwards and back. First I step forwards and then back. First step forwards and then back. Only one leg moves at a time. The other leg remains quite static. Concentrate on bringing your arms up straight. Step forward, stretching your leg right out. Stretch and stretch. This helps to really relax your pelvis. Keep your arms up straight all the time. Step forwards and then back. Move your right leg and then your left. There should be a little give in your knees. Don't keep them too straight or bend them too much. Keep your arms outstretched so that the movement's isolated. Lift your chest up and keep your chin parallel with the floor. Arabesques. Arabesques are typical of Oriental dancing, and they give the impression that you're floating across the floor. Notice how important the arm movements are whenever you change direction. Walk on the balls of your feet. On the third beat, pause very briefly, and then change direction. Turns. Just watch without doing anything. Try to make your turns as wide as possible and make sure that you come back squarely facing the front. Turn on the balls of your feet. When you come back at the end of the turn, you lead with the same foot you ended the turn with. Turn to the right. Open up your arms. Left, right. Your right foot comes back flat on the floor, and your left foot is raised up onto the ball of the foot. The right foot then lifts up again. Bring your arms up straight as you complete each turn, and hold them out parallel with the floor as you turn to make the turn look even wider. Travelling steps with hip movements. The combination of the knee action and the fact that the leg is raised up onto the ball of the foot causes the hip to move. Face the front, with one foot flat and the other raised onto the ball of your foot. Push down onto the raised foot. Together and straighten, together, straighten. Bring your feet back together and straighten your leg. One foot should be raised onto the ball of the foot and the other flat on the floor. Bring your feet together, then straighten your leg. The knee action should control the position of your leg. Straighten, straighten. Each time you straighten your leg, your hip goes up. Concentrate on keeping your leg on the ball of your foot. Travelling steps combined with hip movements can be adapted to suit various different musical rhythms. This is the same step performed at a much faster rhythm. Travelling steps with chassés. Just watch without doing anything. One foot is flat on the floor, the other raised up onto the ball of your foot. One foot flat, the other on the ball of the foot. Keep your arms parallel with the floor. Push down on the ball of your foot so that your hip lifts up. Straighten the knee of the raised leg. You can either keep your arms parallel with the floor or lift them straight up. Flat, raised onto the ball of your foot. Flat, raised up on the ball of your foot. Point in the direction you're moving. I'm now going to show you a sequence which uses all the movements you've just learned. The first time I run through it, I'll be identifying each movement as I do it. Arm undulations. Lifts and drops with one hip. Rotation of the pelvis. Lifts and drops with the other hip. Rotation of the pelvis. Walking backwards. Backward figure 8. Kicks. The camel. Kicks. Forward and backward leg movements. The Oriental twist. Crossover with hip movements. Now I'm going to do the forward and backward leg movements with slightly more bounce. Turns. Downward figure 8. Rotation of the torso. Forward and backward shoulder movements. And finish as you started with arm undulations. Now it's your turn to dance to the music.